All right, so now we have Gary
Now we
with
see
white.
Kasparov against Andersson. Very interesting game because Andersson was well known for his style. He defended very well usually, and this line here is very important theoretically. I knew it very well because I played against Andersson also myself. We showed already the game, very important game in London in 1980. We showed the game, and the idea is almost the same, but Gary played another move in the opening. So this with a3, the so-called Petrosian variation against the Queen's Indian. And after bishop b7, knight c3, and knight e4. That was the line that was preferred by Andersson. He played always like this. Well, the alternative here is the move d5. The normal move is d5. After d5, we can show some other line. I think Naidor played against Kasparov this line with d5. We'll see
Yeah,
later
we'll
on.
see
Yes.
in another game.
Okay, so knight e4. And after knight e4, white takes in e4, black takes. And now the normal move, which gives small advantage for white in any variation, is e3 and bishop d3 later on, the way I played against Ulf. Kasparov played something different. He played knight d2, which seems a little bit unusual, but it's very good also, for white. I mean, he wants to see where goes the bishop. Now, if you put back the bishop in b7, is a normal line usually, to wait to see what happens. The idea is to provoke white to play immediately e4, like he wanted to do the same in their game. If now white plays immediately e4, he wanted to play knight c6. That was the idea, without moving the pawn. But it's better to provoke this to have the bishop on the other diagonal, the way they played, So he put the bishop in g6. So now, after bishop g6, this is the idea. If white plays immediately e4, then knight c6 is good. Knight c6 is good. Why? Because now you can't put back the knight in f3. You lose the pawn from e4. If you push the pawn in d5, then he has time to play knight d4, and this is more or less even. The idea is to play knight d4 and then c5, and have a strong knight in d4 for the moment, you see, like this.
Yeah.
If he arrives to this, is okay for black, So white has to play something else. So after bishop g6, he played normally g3, and now black had to choose to play like this, like in their game, or normal. The normal line was c6 and d5 with a small edge for white, all the time. But after knight c6, e3, okay, and now he provokes again. Now he played a6, white played b4, no? And after b4, again, very interesting, b5, So now what to do? If he plays c5, then it's very difficult to, to go through later on, with white. So now he took in b5, and the move order is very important now. Now he took in b5, and now if white takes, for instance, in b5, black has already very good game after knight takes b4. So now, okay, bishop b2 normal. So now black played knight a7. Okay, the idea is very simply, if black has time to play c6, d5, and then he can arrive with the knight through c8, b6 or d6, controlling the central cases, and then it's very good for black if he arrives to this, But now white moves and has to decide what to do very quickly, to have the initiative. So he gives the pawn for a strong initiative. I mean, he plays first h4. Now black played normal h6, but maybe it was a little bit better h5, instead of h6. We'll see why later on, And now after h6, he gives the pawn. Okay, he opens the very important diagonal, He has a very strong initiative. It's enough. I mean, by this very high level, it's enough for Kasparov to control the game later on, you know, for a few moves. So he has to take, of course. Now, after bishop g2, c6, it doesn't give back the pawn, no? And now, castle, normal. Now we see the result. Now you have some trouble with black because you can't, you know, come immediately into play with with other pieces, you know, from f8 and h8. Even if you play f6 like he played later on, you have some problems with the, you know, the king's position later, because the rook from h8 doesn't play for the moment, and white comes very quickly, you know. I mean, the idea for white is very, very easy to do it. He wants to play rook e1 and open the e file, you know. This is the idea for white, you see. So, okay, so now he wants to close the diagonal. He played f6, you know. Okay, after f6, rook e1, okay, normal, bishop e7, what to do else, you know. So now very important, queen g4, you know. King f7. He has to play king f7. If he plays bishop f7, he loses the pawn from g7 and it's finished for black. I mean, you know, it's too much. You know?
This one.
Yeah. So now, again, very good move, h5. Now, bishop, so everything, until now, everything is forced, you know. And now he opens the game. He plays e4, you know. Now you have to take in e4. If you don't take in e4, it's very easy. I mean, if you can take back in d5, the position is terrible for black, you know. So he has to accept to take, you know, himself there. Now bishop takes. He has to take. Now, okay, we look at the position. You have many problems with black in this position, and probably Andersson tried to defend by the only moves, you see. Why? Because he wants to come very quickly to g6 with check with tempo, you know, and he has very strong attacking chances against the king, you see. So now the first moment was here, instead of knight c8, if I'm not wrong, if he played d5 was not possible here, d5, because of knight takes f6 and black can resign.
You know? Why?
What to do? Here, after queen e6 or queen g6 check, yeah. No, pardon, excuse me.
Yes.
First of all, knight is in e4 first. Now the knight was there. Now, yeah, he plays d5.
Maybe bishop. Maybe bishop.
No. With the knight, he takes the queen g6 check, I think, and the queen. King f8. Yes, king f8.
F8.
Yeah, king f8, and now he takes. What is the man? Black was lost. If he plays d5, black is lost immediately. I don't know. He can take once and then queen d7 check or something, but he's completely lost for black, you know. So, okay, that was the first very important moment here. Instead of d5, he played knight c8, controlling the cases, you know, the case d5 and the case d6. And he thought probably that it's enough to have a good defense here, you know. So, okay, now he played rook d1. He's preparing, you know, the same idea. And now he played rook a7. Again, he tries to control everything, you know, against the dangers. And now look, now he took in f6. Now has to take only with the pawn, because if he took with the bishop,
yes,
if he took with the bishop, then queen g6 check and it's finished, you know. Now he has to go to f8, yeah, and now he has time to take in f6, and you can't take with the queen because he's mate, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, and when you take back with the pawn, you know, yeah, the rook e6, and this is completely finished.
Rook e6.
Yeah, rook e6, and it's mate, you know,
yeah.
mating attack, you know. Okay, so all right, Very unpleasant, this. So what to do? You have to take in f6. If you allow, I mean, he's threatening mate in 1, you know, just almost mate in 1 with queen g6. So, okay, now he gave check. Now the position is very dangerous for black, but you have to realize the advantage, you know. So again, a very strong move. Now he changes the diagonal, bishop b2, c1, but he wants to take with check in h6, you know. So now again, the only defense, d5. No? Now again, a very strong move. He doesn't take immediately in h6. He plays first rook d4, preparing, you know, rook d4, rook g4 first. He wants to arrive with the rook, you know. So what to do? The only move again, to play knight d6 to arrive himself in h7, in f7. Now rook g4 and knight f7. And okay, it seems that black could somehow defend the position, you know?
Yes.
And here bishop takes e5, h6 check, you know, decisive. Now you can't take with the rook because it's mate in g8.
Yes.
You have to take
With the knight.
With the knight, you see. Then if you take with the knight, you lose everything with check, you know. Queen g7 check, and queen takes h7 check, and then queen takes h6. Everything with check, you know. So you have to move the king, you know. King e8, you know. Very unpleasant, but okay, forced. And now bishop g7, look at this. Now rook g8, h6, and black resign.
Rook g8.
Yeah, and h6 and black resign. Nothing to do. Terrible.
Yes.
Complete Zugzwang, look at it.
Yeah. Was a quick
Terrible. You know,
quick attack.
No, but of course, terrible. I mean, by this very high level, he could, you know, realize a very strong, you know, attacking position. I mean, he had fantastic position for the pawn. And then later on, he had the possibility to sacrifice a piece and so on. And everything was correct, of course. But, okay, very nice until the end, you see.
Yes.
Yeah. And against a very strong grandmaster, of course. Andersson was very strong.
All right.
The position was very unpleasant for black. You know, this is the problem. Even if you have a pawn in this kind of position, is very unpleasant. It's better not to have the pawn, but have a safe position. You know, but like this, everything is open and everything is, you know, many dangers coming open you, and you know, the result is like this. You see.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gheorghiu.